Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Lonnie from FlightSim Gaming here. Today we are flying in the Air Canada Jazz CRJ900. We are flying from Vancouver up to Whitehorse, Yukon. Typically, this aircraft will fly up there from Vancouver. It is a real-world flight done in the RJ from Vancouver. You're not going to see many content creators flying up to northern Canada. The Whitehorse scenery is done by Sim Addons, and you can go to their website. I believe it's simaddons.com. The developer's name is Ralph, and he mainly does Canadian scenery for Microsoft Flight Sim, FSX, I believe X-Plane, or it could be P3D, I'm not too sure. But I did pick up their Whitehorse scenery, and it's pretty good. No complaints there. All his pricing is listed on his website. Pricing is a little bit steep for what you're getting, but that's okay. You know, we don't have many devs creating Canadian airports at the moment. You can find, anything from out west all the way out to St. John's, Newfoundland, up on his website, and take a look. Shout out to Ralph at Sim Addons, who's creating Canadian airports. A lot of these Canadian airports I find that should have been included in the World Update Canada update, but it is what it is. Let's get things rolling here. We'll hop inside the cockpit and we'll get this bird up in the air. First things first, keep in mind I haven't flown this aircraft in a little bit. I don't have many hours. I might have maybe, just under 200 hours with this aircraft. But it is a nice alternative, when you're flying regional flights. So, anyway, we will come up here to the battery master switch, and we will select the ground power there, put on the nav and logo lights, as well as we'll arm the emergency lights, and the seatbelts, no smoking, will go to auto. Turn up the overhead display here. I'll lower this and we'll turn up some lighting. As you can see, it's very overcast here in Vancouver at the moment. We're going to turn on our nav switches here. It's pretty overcast here at the moment. I'm having issues with live weather. I'm not sure if anybody else is, but I had to spawn in a few times to get the actual weather looking pretty decent. FlightSim, they had an update with their avionics, an aircraft update, and I find I've been having issues ever since with my weather. But anyway, let's come over here to the McDo, Collins McDo. We'll go ahead and plug in some information. We're at Vancouver. Take the FMS position and we'll set it. Come over to the flight plan page and we'll put some more info here. Origin of flight is Vancouver, and we are going to Whitehorse, Yukon. Come over to SimBrief here, and our alternate is CYXT. We are departing from runway 08 right today. Plug that in there, and our flight number is Jazz 8480. This is the actual flight flown. Come over to the departure and arrival index here. We don't have a departure set from SimBrief, but we are going to include the Vancouver 2 departure out of runway 08 right. We will just vector ourselves to our next waypoint. We'll come over to the flight plan page here, and we'll go ahead and plug in some stuff. So we are going direct FASBO. And then we were going from FASBO to Trina. From Trina, we do have some lat long coordinates. So 51 north 25. And then from 51 north 25, we are going 54 north 27. And then we are going to 56 north 29. And then 58 north 32. We will go ahead and execute. And then we will come back over to the arrival index, and we are expecting RNAV 14 right. We'll stick that in there. And we'll execute. Go over to the legs page and let's see if we have any discons, and we do. Couple here. Okay, I think that all looks good. Come over to the VNAV page here. VNAV climb. Transalt is 18,000. Cruising alt, SimBrief gave us flight level 360. We'll plug that in execute. And then we need to come back over to the performance init page. And we got to come over here to the EFB. And we will change to 0 fuel weight so we can input our own values in there. 0 fuel weight of 29,585. We'll enter. And the fuel is 6669. We'll set payload in simulator. You have to do it a couple times. As you can see, center of gravity change there. While I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and select set all for our V-speeds. Takeoff trim of 6.8, so we'll come back over here. We'll zoom in. And we need to adjust this 6.8. And there we have it. And we come back down to the McDo and just make sure our fuel's 6669, 29,585. Perfect. Come over to Navigraph here and we'll have a look. First of all, let's make sure that we properly load in our flight here. Import flight. And there we have it. Go over to CYVR. We're going to look at the weather today. Altimeter is 2974. So we're going to, here is our altimeter there, look for 2974. We'll set that in there. We'll turn on, we'll keep radar turned off. And we are going to jump all the way up to our cruising altitude. Set that in there. We'll turn the flight director on. And let's get GSX going, shall we? Request boarding.
Requested.
This is a payware airport at Vancouver. I'm not sure which version I have, if it's the FS Dream Team or the FlightSim Studios. I believe it's the FS Dream Team. I have no issues with this add-on. It is cheaper than the FSim, the FlightSim Studio. Go ahead and we'll open up all our doors here. We have our passengers boarding. Come back up top here. We'll turn our pumps on. We'll open up our APU door and we will start it. And we'll watch it climb up. Come back here and we'll have a listen. While that spools up, we'll come back inside here. APU looks like it is spooled. We'll turn our air conditioning recirculation is set to on. Our packs will come on. I will turn on our beacon light and our hydraulic switch 3 I will set on. We'll wait for everybody to board up here. You know, I'm hoping for an update with this aircraft relatively soon. I find, you know, the trim sensitivity is super pitchy and touchy. You have to, or I'd recommend you change your yoke sensitivity settings in the controller tab there. and try to adjust for a more negative sensitivity, just to make the aircraft feel much heavier. I believe there is an update coming for this aircraft soon. I'm not too sure, but you know, Aerosoft is probably hard at work with that A330, which is pretty cool. I don't hear any passengers boarding. I'm not sure why. What's going on here? It looks like our jetway didn't properly connect there too. That's okay. GSX doing GSX things, boarding passengers now, no problem. We're waiting for some baggage. All is well. Sounds like we have some baggage coming. Get rid of the navigraph there. I do apologize, everybody, for that. Actually, you know what? Let's have a look at our departure today. Come over to our charts page, our Vancouver to departure. Very, very simple departure. We are departing from runway 08 right, and we have to take off runway heading, and we are to expect vectors. So climb heading 083 or assigned by ATC, initial climb clearance, maintain 7,000 or as assigned. We are shooting right up to our cruising altitude, which is okay. But anyway, we're gonna depart off the runway. We're gonna climb runway heading, probably up to about 5,000 feet. And then we'll go ahead and make a left turn, vector ourselves out to our flight planned route. Coming into Yukon, we are expecting an RNAV 14 right arrival. We are arriving on the Gorov 1 arrival, so we'll be coming across here, Livco. We do have a altitude and speed restraint here at Simki to Emisa, and then we will vector ourselves to the runway. It's a pretty cool flight, very mountainous as we climb up and cross over western and northern Canada. Let's come over here. Looks like we got some baggage going. Not sure why I do not hear any passengers loading, but that's okay. I'm also not sure why we have static aircraft here. This could be, I guess, there is an option in the options there to put real world aircrafts gates, but I'm not sure I have all that turned off. Anyway, no big deal. Turn on our strobe lights. Go ahead, stab trims, lock trim, and yaw dampeners will switch on. Could have done that later, but that's okay. We'll get her out of the way, and we will arm the reverse thrust. You must do that. Passenger still loading, sorry, baggage loading 33%. Taking quite a long time today, but that's okay. Hope everybody's enjoying the content that I've been putting out. I am receiving a lot of good feedback, which is always nice from the FlightSim community. 67%. We're almost there. PMDG have announced that they are releasing the 737-900, I believe, on February 7th or February 8th. I'm not exactly sure the date. I will be purchasing that aircraft. I know it is just another 737 variant, but I do want the 900. I do want to do some Alaskan ops with that one. There's also some pretty good Lion Air ops you can do out in South Asia there. I believe Thailand, Singapore. It's Thailand or Singapore carrier. I could be wrong. Maybe an Indonesian carrier. I'm not too sure, but that'll be pretty fun. Things are different with the 900, you know. I was watching some videos, and it's very easy to tail strike that aircraft, so you got to make sure that you don't do that and rotate smoothly. But I'm excited for that aircraft. Once that aircraft is released, I am looking forward to PMDG finally, you know, releasing photos and the status of the 777. I think I'm more excited for that aircraft than anything else at the moment. You know, hopefully Aerosoft releases that A330, but I'll probably exclusively fly this 777 more than the A330, in my opinion. I have a lot of flights planned in that aircraft. I want to do some nice long hauls with that aircraft. So looking forward to that. Hopefully we'll get a Dash 8 in the sim sometime soon. Nice turboprop airliner would be pretty cool. Looks like baggage is just about done there. Boarding is complete, so we will go ahead and close everything up. We are going to remove the wheel chocks. We do have the AP running.
Cabin is secure. All passengers are aboard.
Ladies and gentlemen,
And we will go ahead and prepare for pushback.
Welcome aboard this flight. We hope you enjoy
No ice treatment.
Before takeoff, we would like to encourage all passengers to watch our cabin crew display the safety features of the aircraft.
Rest of our hydraulic switches. We are going to push back, nose right, tail left. And we will go ahead, ignition switch will be on, engine right. And we're going to watch for an N2 percentage of 20 before we introduce fuel. We'll go ahead and we'll start the left side. Again, we're going to wait for an N2 of 20%. Wait for oil pressure lights to go out.
Ladies and gentlemen, please pay attention as we display the safety features and procedures of the aircraft in case of an emergency. During an emergency, please remain in your seats with your
we
seatbelts
lost our
fastened
right
and your
engine.
seats in the upright position. In case of a drop in cabin pressure, breathing masks will drop from the ceiling and should be placed over your head. If there is smoke in the cabin during the
Not
evacuation
sure
of
why
the
we lost the right
aircraft,
engine
the
there.
walkway emergency lights will display to the exits, which are located here and here. In case of an extreme emergency landing, you will be instructed to get into the brace position, which is executed by placing your head between your knees with your hands over your head. We would also like to remind you that you should turn off all electronic devices. We thank you for paying attention during this brief presentation.
Let's make sure anyone rises. Let's redo this. Don't know what happened there. Hydraulic to low pressure. Good thing it's on. My fault. There we go. Turn that off. We will disconnect our APU, close that door. Come back up here. We're going to set some windshield heats and probes. Turn on our nose and taxi lights. Make sure all of our lights are out. They look like they are. It's great. Reverses are armed, and we'll go ahead. Flaps 8. Departure. Flaps 8. We should get a message up here. It'll say takeoff config OK. Maybe we'll get it later once we start moving. Can't remember. Anywho. Got to go ahead. We'll pull up Navigraph here and let's have a look at our taxi routing. So we're gonna come down Juliet, hang a left onto Lima to Lima 4, and then on a very short departure. Sorry, very short taxi there. Very short. Turn up some more interior light. Alright, I think we're good to go, guys. We will release parking brake. Takeoff config is okay. Let's get on out of here. We're going to set the heading 083. If you're enjoying the content, like and subscribe. Please, please, please. I mean, regardless if you like or subscribe, I will still continue to post content. I would greatly appreciate it if you did. A little too quick here. This is Lima. We're going to hang it right. If anybody hasn't flown this aircraft, just to give you a heads up, it is a handful. It does not have auto throttle. You have to manually control throttle in flight at all times. Get a little squirrely as you're starting your descent, because you can either slow down real quick or you can speed up real quick, so you have to make sure that you are on your ones and twos when flying this aircraft. A couple things that I've learned on takeoff. You know, once the gear goes up, I'll go ahead and I'll select the speed button, and we will climb at a assigned speed. It's almost like auto throttle, but, you know, when you're climbing or descending, you can set that. When you're cruising, you can't. Some nice views there. I love the textures of this aircraft. It's really nice. Taxi lights are not lined up with the actual taxi mark, so that's okay. I'm just looking now at my overlay here at the top. It's showing CRJ8. That is completely wrong. I don't know why it says that. I'll have to take a look at that. Not sure why it says that. Left onto the runway. Let's get this bird ready. Switch on the rest of our lights here. Make sure our heading is 083. Go ahead and we'll switch heading mode.
Captain has advised that we are now cleared for takeoff.
Click this little button here. Almost a perfect turn there. Keep center. Alright. Let's get going. Throttle's up. Release brakes. Knots check. Rudders are very sensitive as well. B1, rotate. B1, rotate. Positive rate of climb. Gears going up. Go ahead and we'll select speed. Turn on autopilot, look at some wing views. as we climb on out of here. Beautiful. Lost heading mode there, that's okay. Keep going, keep it going. Throttles can come down to the climb detent.
Terrain. Pull up.
Disregard that. Go ahead and turn off some lights here. Speed it up now. I think up to 240. Flaps 1. Go ahead and start our left turn now. Flaps clean. To be honest, I'm not sure if there's supposed to be snow on the ground right now in Vancouver. I do know live weather has been acting a little sus the last little while, so I do apologize if this doesn't look how it should be. Come here, we'll monitor everything. We're just approaching, we're over 5,000 feet now. We're on a heading. We are going to intercept. This aircraft does some funny things. If I were to enable the nav mode now, it will do some weird things. So I'm just going to follow the heading mode to make for a smoother transition once I get to my waypoints. What it'll do is you'll see it, it'll want to rock to the right, sorry, rock to the left and then back to the right. So just keep it there for now. Everything's looking great. We are climbing up to flight level 360. Just going to shoot on all the way up. Let's see if we can see downtown Vancouver. We'll see it shortly. Here, there's some snow over there. The performance is absolutely incredible in this aircraft. Comparative to Fenix and PMDG products, I'm getting about an additional, 15, 20 FPS, which is pretty good. If anybody's wondering what the performance is, that's what it is. It's really good in this aircraft. We are approaching 10,000 feet. We'll go ahead and we will speed up to 290. Go ahead and turn off the rest of our lights here. And what I'll do is we can go direct Trina. We'll execute that and then hit the nav mode, and it should take us to where we need to go. So far so good, everything's looking well. Climb up on out of here. Coming in through some clouds here. I'll go ahead and turn on some anti-icing. Go ahead and I'll sync our heading mode. We have some precipitation right now as we pass through the clouds. Right on, folks. Anyway, thank you for watching that departure. We'll see how that turns out. I hope it was as smooth as I can get it. I do find this aircraft very twitchy, so I apologize if it looked a little twitchy, but hey, it's part of the game. I'm going to monitor this flight now. We're going to head up to flight level 360. We're going to cross BC. I don't think we're going over into Alaska. I think it's just right up BC, right up the coast, up to Yukon. And I'll catch you guys as we're descending down. Descending is a handful. I'm still learning how to, you know, close the throttles on the descent and at what N1 percentage you need to be at. So it might look a little choppy, it might look a little messy, but hey, it's all a learning experience. I'm not a real world pilot. I'm just a real world mechanic. Anywho, catch you guys shortly. Thanks for watching. See ya! Welcome back, everybody. Currently we are descending down to 8,300 feet. We are just approaching Whitehorse International. We are descending on this VNAV profile we have inputted here in the McDo. How that works is you have a snowflake here, as well as you have your little blue dot as to where you need your vertical feet per minute to be put. And you just monitor that as you're going down. We're just approaching 16,000 feet. And what I'll do is I'll actually bring up Navigraph here and show you kind of what we're doing. We are planning for the runway 14. It's an RNAV approach. And we are on the Gorov 1 arrival. And as you can see, we are coming up here. And we're going to hit Livco, and then we do have a altitude and speed restraint here at Simki. The approach is going to be the RNAV Yankee runway 14 right into Whitehorse, and we're going to come along Simki, and we're going to come along these waypoints here, descend down into Whitehorse. We do have minimum set. We're going to set minimums for 2963. Get that going right now. 2963 in there. We gotta watch our speed, or we gotta watch our vertical path here. As you can see, the snowflakes coming up. And I do have landing elevation set for 2320. You can set that up here. Turn that knob. They're in increments of 20 to set your landing elevation. It's going to get a little bit busy here. You know, this aircraft is a bit of a handful. It does not have auto throttle, so everything is done manually. We're trying to keep a speed here of about 270, but we will slowly start bringing that back down to 210. Set that now, as we do have a speed restraint coming up in about 18 miles or so. So we'll continue to monitor that. Continue to cut throttle here. Flight plan is all set up here. We do have our altitude restrictions inputted in there. As you can see, Simki at 83 and 3,800 at Sindhu. Set down. Once we hit Sindhu, we are looking for ground speed of about 160 knots or so, and we're going to descend down at about 900 feet per minute. As you can see up here in Yukon, it is currently winter time. You got some snow there and some nice forestry looking stuff there. You're at about 250 knots. Bring the throttle back up. Continue to monitor this. This airplane can get away from you pretty quickly if you do not monitor kind of your speed as well as your descent profile. We need to be at about 1,300 feet per minute. Make that 1,200. We're sitting at about 250 right now. Coming up on 10,000 feet. I'll go ahead and I'll turn our landing lights on. And I'm going to arm the reverse thrust. QNH is 29.40. What do we have for the winds today? The winds are showing 000 at 00, but that just changed because I believe it was 180 at 10 knots, but we'll see when we land. It could be an error. Anyway, we'll slow it down to 210. We're still descending nicely down on this path here. It's showing 8,300 there. Go ahead and bring this. We gotta get down to 3,800. So I'll go ahead. I'll start changing the altitude to 3,800. Keep coming down on the path here. Everything's looking good. We're at about 240. Go ahead, put some throttle in there. Gotta watch our snowflake. We're 14 miles out from the airport. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna put out flaps 1. Continue to have that speed drop off. Showing we need to be at 190. So we'll dial this back down to 190.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to land. Please remain seated until we have stopped.
Go ahead. Flaps 8. Continue to have that speed coming back. We are a little fast at the moment, but that's okay. Back some flaps. Speed will go down to 170. Need to be at about 3,800 or above at Sindhu. As you can see how much of a handful this aircraft is as you're watching the VNAV profile along with your speeds. That VNAV snowflake is just bouncing around like crazy, so it's kind of, you know, throwing me for a loop here. But once we make our left turn, go ahead and get us ready for the approach here. Keep bringing out those flaps. Maintain the speed. Dropping off a lot of speed there, so let's bring it back up to 170. Keep bringing our speed back down to about 1,000 feet per minute. Let's go ahead and turn the rest of our lights on. We're going to go ahead, flaps full. Here's coming down. And as you can see, we are not centered. So I will go ahead and take the aircraft. Okay, we got flaps full, gear down. Reverse is armed. Not too sure why
1,000.
I am that far off on the approach, but anyway.
1,000.
Here we go, 1,000 feet, check. Let's maintain the speed. Line us up, looks like we got 3 whites, 1 red, that's okay. The aircraft is bouncing around pretty good. Continue. Check.
$400. $200. $100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
A little slopey here. It's okay. Reverse is out. $60 knots. Welcome to Whitehorse, everybody. I think we're going to grab our taxiway up here somewhere. That approach, in my opinion, was pretty sloppy. Not sure why we were thrown off there on the actual path to the runway, but that's okay.
Please remain seated until the aircraft has come to a complete stop.
They got some moose out there, look at that. Courtesy of CYVR Addons. This is CYVR Addons Whitehorse International. Go ahead and stow the flaps. Landing lights off. We'll go ahead. The APU door and spool it up. GSX here, and we're going to select Spit gate 3. Follow me. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. Sometimes things happen in this aircraft. I have noticed issues with the ILS sometimes. ILS doesn't, it'll capture, but then all of a sudden your altitude is dropping off rapidly, and you're fighting to maintain glide path. But maybe it's just me, I'm not sure. Not a pro at this aircraft. It's not one of my favorites, but it's something different. As you can see, it's a clear day right now in Whitehorse. I'm not exactly sure how accurate that is. I know there's been some issues with the Microsoft FlightSim weather data. We were lucky to catch some weather coming out of Vancouver, but as I was booting up the sim, it was clear skies. Go ahead and slow down the taxiway here. Getting a little carried away. This airport is very nicely done by Ralph over at Sim Addons. I believe he's one of the only devs. You can actually see animal kind of running around. You can actually hear birds chirping at the terminal, which is pretty cool. Performance is stellar. I'm getting about 50 FPS right now. Mind you, there's not much going on here, but you do have active vehicles out on the runways, and you know, you got some static aircraft and stuff like that. So all his airports are very nice. And it looks like we have a static aircraft. Not sure why we have an aircraft there. This aircraft is not part of his scenery. So we'll have to see. Check my settings and see why I do have aircraft on the ground. I should not. Wait. We're looking for stand number 3. I'll go ahead and turn off our taxi lights. You can actually hear the birds in the background. It's pretty cool. To be honest, with all this snow on the ground, I don't even know where to turn. Okay, I see it coming up. Looks like the marshal are hiding behind the tug there. Try to make it as good as we can. Go ahead and we'll park there. Oops. We followed that right there. Okay, APU is on. We'll go ahead and we'll kill the engines. Go ahead and request a deboarding.
Deboarding requested.
Come over here. Set the chocks. Ground power is connected. And we'll open some doors.
Ladies and gentlemen, the door is open. Please.
And there we have it, everybody. Welcome into Whitehorse. Not a flight you'll typically find out on YouTube, but hey, you know what? Thought I'd give her a chance. Scenery is great by Sim Addons. You know, kind of gives you a little bit more free range to fly around in Canada. But anyway, thanks for flying with me. You know, please like and subscribe if you have not. I would greatly appreciate that. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks a lot, everybody. Take care.